The best way to grow and to make it in this space is to have friends, is to have a group of makers that also build their own things that can both help you discuss an issue, but just be there on the same path as you are.
Today I have a special guest. It's Dan, the maker everybody knows about, the most productive, the most creative maker on X. Meet Dan himself. Dan, hi, and please introduce yourself.
Oh man, hi. Like after this intro, I feel like my ego cannot fit this room. No one has made such an intro for me. Thanks so much. Yep. Thanks for having me. I've been waiting to talk to you for a while. I'm actually a secret fan of yours. I'm going to take you by surprise now, but what you've done with Unicorn platform and all the marketing around it, I was watching from the sidelines. I saw that product hunt. I saw that video. I have a huge admiration for you. And I think you're an amazing marketer and content creator. You just maybe are not consistent enough, I think. Maybe that's from the outside. But if you really put your mind to it, you would just destroy everybody. Like you would just be ahead. So thanks for having me. It's awesome to finally talk to you.
Yeah,
that's the problem. You got to put podcast host on your show, and then this is what happens. Then you get introduced instead.
Yeah, you can just invite me to your show, and I will share you why I was so unproductive all these years.
Good.
Okay, cool.
Let's do it.
Cool. Yeah, let's talk about what you do.
I do a lot of things. So I think if you go to my profile, there's something like 11 things that I've built. Obviously, I don't work on 11 things at the same time. It's just a bit too much, but I do work on at least 5 or 6 now. I divide it into 3 major groups of things. One is content creation and media. So I have a podcast, YouTube channel, and a community as well. And the community is quite small, intimate, but it's part of it. That's called the Morning Maker Show. And the way that works is we get guests these days. So the format has changed over time and we could get into that. But these days we get guests, we sort of learn about their journey, we record a YouTube, and then we publish it across social. So the classic guest podcast stuff these days. And I do it with Sandra at Taco Treba. Sandra's a good friend of mine, and we've been doing a lot of stuff together, including the podcast. That's the first category. The second category is freelancing, and I kind of keep that in a category, but honestly, it's just another revenue stream that allows me to do fun and stupid things. And then this is a perfect segue to the third category, which is my own projects. Most of them are there to make revenue, but also some of them are just because I think they're fun to build. And, I just go ahead, I build them, I launch them, and then I figure out if there's a market or not. So I think a couple of years ago, I made something called MR Art Pro, which is really out of the box product, but it's to generate ASCII or Unicode art for social media posts. Yeah, exactly. And, this was just out of the blue. I made it. I thought it's cool. I researched a lot of these characters and I launched it. It actually went very well. Obviously, this is not the kind of product that you can keep building and growing. So even at this point, it's kind of feature complete. Like I did it, I launched it. It's a dead end, right? But it was super fun. So, that's freelancing fuels this kind of silliness. But not all of the products are like that. Some of them are more serious. And I tried to follow the AI trends, do something in that space too. Yeah, so that's overall. I can get into some of the headline projects as well if you'd like.
Yeah, so you run a show. It's your first main project. The second project is your freelancing services, which you make. And the third, your type of your work is making projects, serious, and some are made for fun.
Right.
Okay, so you're very versatile to everything. Cool. Okay, let's talk about what brings you most revenue. Which projects are the most important in your holdco?
Yeah. So the most important today is actually the Morning Maker Show, which is actually quite crazy. It even has recurring revenue, and that's through sponsorship and the community. The freelancing gig also brings a good amount of revenue as well, as I mentioned. But project-wise, is the Morning Maker Show, that's the first. Then Shipixon is the second. Then Crontab, and then finally Clubber. In this order, and they bring maybe so everything combined that I do maybe around 20,000 a month, and the ratio is 60-70% freelancing and then 30 to 40 projects, depending. At some point, it was even 50-50. So if I have like a really good month and essentially I do a good job at marketing, that's what it boils down to, then the products can actually exceed what I do for freelancing. And I think maybe that could be an end goal. But as I said, freelancing is just another revenue stream. So I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, if it's fun and it's paid well, then I take it. So I hope that kind of gives you a rough idea.
Interesting. Have you ever thought about leaving Copenhagen for a while you're building your revenue and then come back? So you don't have to work for clients. Why didn't you do that?
It's really like you're touching a sensitive topic. I love it. I have thought about it many times because this is probably one of the worst cities you can you can do not to live. It's good to live, but to do what I do, because Denmark in general is a country of safe social benefits that puts a lot of people in line. So everyone has a 9 to 5 and they go happy to it. It's secure, it's a good job. They do their career and the social system works and they get a nice pension and that's it, right? So it's pretty hostile to entrepreneurs, and it's very difficult to make it as an indie maker because the money that you make is very little compared to the cost of living here, right? So if you were to rent something, easily $2,000 a month for a small apartment. So that's, $2,000 MRR, just like that. Yeah. So everything's kind of expensive. So that is one part of it. And then half of it you pay in tax anyway. So you need 4,000 MRR just to live here, right? Wow. So obviously I thought about moving somewhere else. And I've been experimenting a bit. I've been checking out countries, and I think what I can do is have a home base here and go around, 6 months in another country, kind of get the benefits of that. And then I can go back here for a while and then do it again in a different country. That's how I think about it here. But until then, I'm playing on hard mode because one of the reasons why I guess I still take freelancing is that you just need to make an insane a lot of money to live a comfortable lifestyle in Copenhagen.
By base, you mean you want to buy your own apartment?
Denmark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have that, an apartment here. Yeah. So that makes more sense. That's kind of a base because I own some property, right?
Okay, cool.
So if I were to go to a different country, I'd probably rent something, for 6 months and then come back here to like the cozy place.
That's a good plan. Okay, I have another question about your Morning Maker show. I just opened YouTube and it has 1K subscribers and the views count is between 200 and 1,000. So I'm not an experienced podcaster. I'm not a content maker, a guy who does these videos. I don't know, is it a lot or not? And how was you able to get sponsorship for such numbers? Are they huge, and how to get sponsorship? My question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, when you ask me about what I do, I put this in a media content creation section, and a lot of the sponsorships that came to the podcast are a package also with the other online presence that I have. So also through my blogs, also through my X presence, right? So when we approach a sponsor, it is, all right, here's the X account, here are the topics that we touch on X, and by the way, we also have Spotify, and we have a YouTube, and so on, and you get the whole package, pretty much. And the YouTube is not a lot. We're having a pretty hard time to grow it. We started it seriously maybe 7 months ago or so. I have to check. That's when we got an editor, because we just did some videos which were lives and we put them just like that pretty much, and then we got an editor and things started to improve in quality. And that was like, we got the editor around 7 months ago, and we were publishing videos maybe early 2024 or so more than a year. Yeah, so YouTube is definitely something we want to get to a bigger scale, but it's very difficult. We've been experimenting with shorter videos, longer videos, guests, no guests, and we're still finding our voice there, but it's been the hardest thing to grow. Like out of all the socials, out of everything, it's really difficult to grow the YouTube. Maybe you have a similar experience too. So it's definitely a big focus, but I wouldn't say it's a lot of views right now. I would really like to 10x to YouTube if I could.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it's not only a show, but the whole package. If anyone is listening to this podcast right now and wants some extra growth for your SaaS, please reach out to Dan. You'll get millions of views if you're lucky, but at least some thousands, tens of thousands, because his ex is super hyping every day.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing to the sponsorship, and it's actually a lot of people don't realize how valuable their experience is within the context of a sponsorship, because if you're a little bit technical or you're a good marketer or you're a good designer, these companies are very interested in you, not just as a micro influencer, but you as a professional, to give them feedback and to try out new things and, you know, give something back in return and be the voice of that company that's from the outside. So that was, I think, the case with pretty much every single sponsorship. It was don't underestimate, you know, your experience and what you can do. And yeah, exactly. That's a good example is with Sentry, where a part of the sponsorship is also to create content for them, to write blog posts, where it's either a mix of my reviews or trying out their platform or some more fundamental knowledge. Basically me explaining a concept, in this case AI agents, and then the next post after this is actually trying AI agents in the context of Sentry, in the context of their product, and is more like a review opinion post of how they used AI agents to solve a problem. And the way these posts actually come to be is I typically post on X, and if that gets good exposure, then I expand it and I make it a blog post. So this one had a pretty nice expose behind the scenes where I wrote something in the lines of, you know, agents are pretty cool. Look at this. It, you know, found an issue, it debugged it, it proposed some code change, and I just got the PR. And, you know, now I believe in AI agents, basically. And it was true. And that is, you know, part of it is all the stuff that I write is something I believe in. Right? So
interesting.
That's not maybe possible with every single sponsor. Some will kind of nudge you to say one thing or another, but our absolute kind of baseline is we'll look at your product, we'll look at your features, and we'll speak the truth about it. We're not gonna, you know, because otherwise people are gonna smell it immediately.
So you tried the tool and speak of it as an expert.
Exactly. The interesting thing is, to get these sponsors, you probably need to use the tool beforehand. And it's a lot easier to get to them. So I think with Sentry, the way we got in contact is I was using it on a number of my apps, and it's not something I build without anymore. So when I have my boilerplate, I put Sentry as the first thing. Like every single project has it. And after using that for a few months, I posted that, you know, it's awesome. No sponsorship or anything. I just felt that way. And that post blew up, and then someone from Sentry reached out, and, you know, then we arranged the sponsorship afterwards. And I didn't do it with that intention to get the sponsorship, but things worked out that way because when you speak honest about a product, when you like it, then those companies, they don't have that many people like you that they can work with, actually.
Interesting. Thanks for this insight. That wasn't obvious at all for me personally. Cool. If anybody is making some sales of ads or sponsorships, please take notes. If you want to get attention of companies and get paid for your posts, please write something for free. Proof that you can make good researches, and these posts will come.
Yeah, really nice summary.
Very insightful. I will make a reels out of this part. Nice. Let's talk about your experience, because you're literally it every day. You made a tweet about laptop and working on it, and it got like 1 million views or something. I haven't seen any successful. What was that?
That was a bit of a lucky shot. I think I got lucky with that one, and then I figure out, all right, this is a format that works. Let me try some other similar posts. So I posted this cursor keyboard where there was a keyboard with 2 buttons, pretty much. Oh, yeah. And that also got maybe 8 million or something like that. Then I posted these GPT things that you maybe find here. And they were essentially examples of the new GPT-4o image generation, plus some prompts and examples and so on. And they all pretty much blew up. And that was just within the last month or so that things has been working very well. So I figured out this formula, which is people like a short hook where you promise a huge payoff. Yeah, that was the cursor one right there. How many? That's 10 million. The cursor
10 million.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, so promise a huge payoff, or some sort of like get them to click inside. Yeah, and the thing that I've been doing lately, 11 million for the laptop one. The thing that I've been doing is also trying to actually share something valuable, because I think you can get lucky with doing memes and doing fun stuff, but that is harder to hit over and over. But with actual helpful content, you can, maybe it's not going to get to 10 million, but you can hit 100,000 impressions with those over and over. Like it's a pretty good chance that you'll hit it. And I think from the outside, you look at these posts and you see 11 million. A post that's 11 million that is a meme is not as valuable as a post that builds your brand as a AI expert or AI image generation expert of 100,000, because people see that meme, they like it, they laugh, and then that's it. They forget about you. They don't even know who you are. They don't care. With the other one, they look at the examples, they bookmark it, they come back, and they remember you, they recognize you, and you're slowly building an audience that will actually come back to your profile and check out your stuff, right? It's a lot more valuable to do the teaching part. So that's what I've been doing lately, and it's going quite well.
But what about these memes posts? Do they make sense? Should I do it?
They do. The problem with meme posts are that they typically don't relate to your field, your niche. So a good meme post would be something that also has to do with whatever brand you're building. So if you're into AI building, then you need to do a meme post within that field, and that limits you quite a bit. And if you do a meme post outside of that field, I don't think it has a large value, because, as I mentioned before, it doesn't contribute to your brand, to your image. It's just something fun, people laugh. But if your brand is just the meme guy, I think you will have problems using X as a marketing channel to actually sell serious products, right? Then you're the meme guy. Then you need to sell the meme services somehow,
You need to post name.
Yeah, it's not black and white, but I would suggest that people post things that teach, that build your brand, instead of memes. It's okay to post memes for fun if you're enjoying it. People need to also see you as a person. So if you're just posting, learn this, learn that, this is serious business, I've tried out 100 things, here's all the lessons, then that takes a bit of your humanity out. A good example, I think, is John Rush, a common friend. I think he definitely using X as a channel, and that's it. It's a channel. All his posts are, 99% of his posts are clearly targeted at that. It's a business strategy. And I feel like, I talked to John separately, and I know he's a really cool guy, and once you get to know him, you like to talk to him. But if you look at you don't see this personality anymore. You just see he's doing business on X.
So you don't recommend to be too much about business. You want our listeners to spend more attention building brand on X, right? So let's start over. For example, I am a young maker. I'm 18 years old, and I found out about this new shiny website, x.com. And I heard that I can find clients for my SaaS, which I built with my friends. So I signed up. I have 0 followers. What do? Do I post memes? Do I post some teaching threads about how to do X? What do I do?
If you have 0 followers, I think the best thing you can do is to reply, first of all. So you reply and you make connections, real connections, and you find a group of people that is on the similar stage of your journey. And before you get to 1,000 followers, what you post is not gonna matter that much, to be honest. It's good to try out things, but ultimately, until 1,000 followers, what you're doing is directly making connections, finding people in the same spot, and trying to perhaps figure out what your voice is. And definitely not posting memes. I don't think that will get you that far. But you can think about where you're going with this before you get to 1,000. So are you going to be a tech person? Are you going to be a design person? Are you going to be a marketing person? Like, what is your character? It has to be something that's fun to you. So if it's something that you need to force yourself to write content in that area, that's not it, right? Find the thing that's fun to write about.
So I found my thing, most possibly it's one tech or, okay, I found my thing, I do tech. What do I post about?
Yeah, so my approach is, if it's about business, you have to post as if you're talking to a friend. So essentially, I'm talking to you and I want to give you some cool advice that I've learned. I've tried out something, and hey, Alex, here's a really cool thing that I figured out. If you do this and that, then you get this result. How about it? And that's your post. So that's my approach. And later on, when you get a little bit bigger audience, you can switch to these type of more formulaic posts, which are, well, you can check my profile for the last ones, but it's essentially something that piques your interest and gets your attention in the first line, then huge payoff promising at the end, and then trying to teach something that's a little bit more valuable than just a thing you found out today, maybe something that requires research or stuff like that. Like really good posts these days are trying out different LLMs. So trying out, here's the same application done in Lovable and Bolt, let's say, right? That's pretty cool. So that would be my path. And I think it's a journey. So you're going to tweak this. I think the things that I would do initially were all over the place. So one day I would post about design, one day I would post about something, the other day I would post about my socks. That is maybe good for, building an actual person, an actual, real life human, but it's not a good growth strategy, right? You're kind of sabotaging yourself, because a lot of people would be, well, I signed up to your account for all this AI stuff, and now you're showing me socks. Well, I'm just going to unfollow because I don't care about that.
Okay, so I start fresh. First, I do replies every day, let's say, right? And I start posting about various things I'm interested in. I just do researches, such as compare LLMs, which image generator is the best. Here are 10 examples of I generated. And I try also to somehow squeeze in some information about my personality in my posts. As you said, I can post my socks and say that I have Pikachu socks and they're fun. And this will remove some followers, because some people think of me as a blog or a media about AI tools, but I want only to leave fans, people who follow me because I am me. If I don't do that, I will have low quality audience. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say that that's summing up pretty nicely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I do that for a few months, maybe the amount of 1K followers or so. Is it possible?
I think so. I think these days it's maybe even easier. So if you keep this formula and kind of hit the trends as well, it's very important these days to actually hit the right keywords, as it seems. So if there's GPT-5 out, you want to be one of the first ones that put GPT-5 post, and that increases your chances to get a lot of views. Even if you have a small account, I've seen the other day that I figured out the X algorithm, and it was a mix of people that had 600-700 followers and hit a post that got 1 million or a crazy amount for that type of account of impressions. And then obviously the second time I checked them, they didn't have 600 followers anymore. They had 2K, right?
Oh wow.
So definitely possible with today's algorithm to hit that pretty soon. Just find a balance where you put some work, but don't spend 3 days on a post either, because when your account is small, there's a big chance it's not going to get anywhere. What you can do is remix. If you have got good content, you can kind of play your odds, remix that content and post it in a different format and see if that hits. That's a fair strategy before you get more followers.
Okay, focus on keywords. If there is a fresh keyword which everybody is about to discuss, be the first, make some effort, but not too much, and make, for example, an overview of GPT-5 features and why is it better than GPT-4.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that you give such examples of how to get famous overnight, because my previous guest, John Rush, who is busy right now, he always has been talking like a grumpy grandpapa, saying, "Oh, all you can do is grind every day. No success is coming without grinding. You have to be patient." I was imagining the faces of my audience. They're like, okay, why I'm listening to like your approach? Fast, be trendy, keywords. Yo, you retry.
Yeah, play the game. I mean, so yeah, you can just check my last post. I literally said, which is quite funny, this word literally is actually a hack in itself. So I said, I literally cracked the X algorithm, and here are 3 ways to game the algo. And I really think, what's the issue? I mean, if you know, and you can open that up. And basically what I said here, all of these formats and things that work, they're all in there. You could just go ahead, take this format and try to write different content for it. It takes a bit to get into this mindset because they all look simple, right? They all look like I could write this. And then when you try to write them, you realize, well, I spent 5 minutes and I have a wall of text now that no one wants to read. So how do I make this short and interesting, right? It takes a bit of practice. So that's like, you know, on the grumpy grandfather side, but it doesn't take years of practice to get this format. It maybe takes weeks, right?
Cool. How do you manage X? You spend a lot of time there. Everybody I open X feed or literally any tweet, there is a reply from you. How do you do that? Is it possible for a normal human without superpowers to do that? Please share your secrets.
Oh man, it's completely random. I don't have a system at all. I would love to say, yeah, here's the system. Please buy my course. I do not have a system at all. So what I do is I am very observant of things in real life, and I do drafts of tweets. So I use Typefully, and I have a bunch of stuff. So every time I get an idea, I put it there, and I have a pretty huge backlog of things I want to write about. It's just about sitting down and then going for those. And I usually do it. So I set 1-2 hours aside, and I go through the drafts, and those that still seem interesting, I flesh them out, and then I post them. So that's one, like if you want to call that a system, that's one thing I do. I don't know if it's a system, it's a thing. But then on the reply end, it's just compulsive. I open it, I reply. I think I don't put as much thought in the replies as I do in the tweets, and that's not to say that they're superficial, but when I go in reply mode, I have more fun, if that makes sense. So I'm just like, you know, I use more irony or in that sense. So that way I can type a lot of things fast and then close down X and hopefully get 1 hour of focus time before the dopamine is like knocking at the door and forces me to open X again.
Okay, cool. I think our younger audience can try this, and perhaps they will have more focus, resource to be on X every second. For me, for an old fart like me, it's getting harder. So I try to do it, like open X only 1 hour per day. Otherwise, I'll spend my whole day.
Yeah, I do have screen time on my phone. So I at least, like, it doesn't work in the sense that I always ask for more time, but at least I do 15 minutes. And then when the 15 minutes are up, I actually close it. So it is not more than 50 minutes at a time, but it could be many times 15 minutes in a day. So I could even look it up to give you some more numbers, but I'm actually afraid to look at my screen time.
Please share, everybody's curious, because it's really insane. You spend like 10x more time than everybody else. But you have great achievements. 22,000 is a lot of followers. That's a great audience.
It's not bad at all, yeah. It's not bad at all. I've joined X a long time ago, and I didn't know how to use it. I was following, huge accounts and didn't really put effort in it for, I don't know how many years. And the first time I took this seriously was when I launched Clubber. That's maybe almost 3 years ago, I'd say. So all of these 22K were over the past 3 years, to be honest. Before that, I don't know, maybe I had 150 or something. It didn't matter. And It was part of building. So it was together with the Build in Public movement, which was pretty strong 3 years ago. Now it's kind of not there.
Yeah.
Or it's fading away. I'm not sure what's going on today, to be honest. I think it's more vibe coding that is taking over this building public style. But there's also a lot of negativity around building public, which I think puts people away. A lot of negativity towards copycats and stuff like that. Usual stuff.
So you believe
when I started,
it's dangerous?
Yeah.
It's dangerous now to be building in public?
No, I've always thought that getting a competitor or a copycat is a form of flattery, a recognition that you're doing something that has value. Ultimately, I don't think most of us, the products that we build, I don't think most of us will suffer that much from a copycat, because indie products, you don't need that huge of a market to make it. So depending on your pricing plan, but I always advocated for a pricing plan that requires, let's say, a maximum of 1,000 users to be profitable with this thing, to be sort of happy with maintaining this product. And your monthly fee is $49, let's say, then that's a huge amount of money, right? But even if it's $10, then you have 10K MRR with 1,000 users. That's not a lot of users that you need. So if a competitor comes in, a copycat comes in, well, you just need 1,000 users. They can get 1,000 too. There's plenty for everyone, right? I don't think it's such a big problem. The amount of work that goes into getting to that 1,000 of users, that's harder to replicate than the product itself. So all the marketing that you've done, all the discussions with your customers, all the support, the optimization in the landing page, stuff like that. That's the hardest part. I don't think it was the building part that's the hardest.
Okay, so guys, if you're afraid of building in public, please don't. Copycatting is not the problem. Growing it is.
Yeah, for sure.
You were saying something. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. Oh. I said, yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, cool. Okay, I have another question. You have a lot of side projects, like you're the king of side projects. I found like 21 or something, if you count everything, like your blog, personal website, which is a piece of art by itself. You should check it out, guys. I will leave the link in the description. And my question is, does it make sense to build such amount of side projects? Is there an idea behind this massive amount of websites? Do you grow your main projects like Shipixin and Collabor with those websites, or it's just for fun?
I always had a master plan for these. So if you look at, I have API Hustle, Clubber, and Crontab. I always envisioned these as a suite of products that, and Cron Tool as well. You see, I have so many I forgot about. I always envisioned these as a suite of products. Yeah, exactly. There you go. That are connected towards the same goal, which is to help you build your API faster, or to test your API or ship some sort of thing in your API. And some of them are kind of reused in the next one. So let me explain that. The stuff that I've built with Clubber to do the performance requests, like all the internals, I've then used in Crontab to build the internals of that. Then idea was eventually there might be a subscription to get access to all of these. And that's still an idea. And there might be other products coming up that will be, I don't think they are as connected now as they would like them to be, but in the future, I've built all of them so I can offer an even more compelling package and manage to sell these not individually, but also as a high value package for users. And when you sell this package, it's pretty cool to make the case for it, because you get all of these things. And then in reality, people will maybe use like just 30% of the package, but you've made the sale for the entire thing. And then you've maybe just made a little bit more money than you would do by selling one product. So that's the crazy idea behind all of them. I put them together, but they're two different silos. I think Shipixin and Page is the other thing. And then there's one more project coming up because I can't help myself. I can talk about that a bit. But that is another bucket where a lot of the stuff that I am doing in Page UI is obviously powering Shipixin. And then the stuff that I learned by building these two will power my next project as well. So with each project, I actually get some sort of thing built that helps me deliver the next project easier. So for me, with every single thing that I shipped, I managed to be a little bit faster in the next product and sort of expand my portfolio. Now, should you be doing this? I think there is no clear rule. I think it depends on the type of person you are. I guess if you're more into having fun sometimes, if you're not just about maxing your revenue and growing one product, I think doing multiple things is good. It's a good way to learn as well. And it's also increasing your luck surface to hit some sort of huge success, right? But on the other side, if you have just a good idea and you hammer at it for years and you listen to customers and you build that out, I think you could probably make a more stable income with that instead. So pick one of the twos. It depends on what sounds interesting to you as an individual. I picked this one because I think it's more fun to build new things, and each new thing that I build is kind of pushing me a bit further in this grand vision of mine to have a suite of products and to sell a package. So there's a lot of marketing opportunities, and it's also very fun to launch things. The problem is launching is easy, but growing is hard. So that is a trap that I fall into over and over. But yeah, it's amazing to launch stuff always.
Interesting. Couldn't it be that you're addicted to making stuff and launching it?
Yes.
And you're just having fun?
I'm definitely addicted to it.
And that's great that you're saying so, because I want more various makers to be talking about this, because now the major voice is coming from people who are pro success, dedicated to MRR, to grow. What did you do today to make your chart going up? This is the only goal they have in their mind. But we are human beings and we live, and we want to be happy every day because our life passes by, and you don't want to regret we're old that we were dedicated to numbers, not having fun and living a life. And this is what I want you guys to learn from Dan, that building stuff is what you do every day. It's not earning money. Let's have some fun too. I like this approach. I also ship a lot of stupid stuff. I have any project or something then completely unrelated to what I do, what my main SaaS is about. But yeah, I truly understand this. Launching side projects is fun. Let's do that. Let's learn new stuff. Let's learn how to make good websites. It's good. Everything you do, even if it doesn't bring you revenue, it's your one more step to your future success. It's not bad to not grow your revenue every day. And not everybody do that.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I think I was talking to Mark Liu also. It seems like he's very focused on making money.
Yeah.
But it's not what's been keeping him going, because he wasn't making money for 3 years, right? That would be pretty crazy. That if that's your focus, you don't do it for 3 years. What keeps you going then? I mean, you're going to give up pretty soon if that's your only goal. But he just said, it's about having fun. Like, I love building products. And that's it. It's a lot more powerful as a goal, because short term, if you want to make money, it's better to get a job, to be honest. It's not about that, right? A job in software will be better paid in the short to maybe even medium term, depending on how well you hit it. So
yeah, but okay, but still, if I want to make money, because there are a lot of makers who want to be at least remnant profitable, should I do these kind of side projects to grow my main SaaS? Is it a good idea or not?
I'm a huge believer in doing free tools as a marketing strategy. So Page UI, which is now an open source library, it started as a free tool. It's one of many that I did for Shipixon. And I launched each of them as a side project. So that is sort of my secret way to still launch stuff while growing the main project, because you still build a new thing, you still launch it, you still get that rush, but the idea is that you funnel a lot of the traffic to your main paid product with it. And there are a number of ways you can use free tools to grow your product. One of the coolest that I've been using is by putting them on Reddit, and it's quite fun. So my main channel is X, and I would say my second channel is SEO, but a lot of the SEO stuff comes from Reddit. So I can give you an example with Page UI. I put it on Reddit, open source components. Reddit loves open source. They will absolutely ban you if you put a paid thing there. Self-promo is a no-go. And if you look for React landing page, I'm one of the first results, but it's not my product, it's the Reddit. Yeah, there you go. So it is a fantastic way to keep launching things and grow your main product. I think free tools marketing is amazing for SEO also because you get backlinks. So I would actually recommend doing something on GitHub too. When I launched Paid UI, I got picked up by a lot of podcasts and I got some really nice backlinks from these tech publications. So basically, all these podcasts, they will include you in the newsletters. So, here's a new project that has been getting a lot of stars, for example, right? And then you get included. I got included in a newsletter called TLDR as well, which is like general test stuff. And, that grows your own SEO authority as well, without having to reach for those backlinks, which is, it's either very expensive or time consuming to do so. So, man, free tool marketing, definitely recommend that. And we talked a little bit before, that's kind of my play here with marketing is this trifecta of, so X is kind of its own thing. I do my post there and that's a good channel. But outside of X, the way I market the products are free tools, Reddit and GitHub. And all of these three fuel SEO as well. So I get high in Google search. And this has been working pretty well for me. I can't complain. I have a lot of pretty highly rated domains as well. And that also is a good value in itself to have that platform, because if you decide to sell or if you decide to pivot, then you already have this good DR that you can use to get customers through SEO.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for sharing. My next question is related. What if I make a SaaS and launch its features separately micro tools? For example, if I make a website builder, I have hundreds of templates. Template for barbershop websites, template for bio page, template for personal photographer portfolio website. What if I don't launch one SaaS once? What if I launch 100 SaaS, which everyone is ultra niched? For example, I made a free generator. Please check out. And that would be mywebsitebuilder.com/bio generator. I launch it. I get all the benefits that you listed before, but my main SaaS grows. And the most important, I can do it every week because adding templates is easy. Did you see any examples doing that?
It's a good idea. The closest thing that I've seen is Dan Kulkov and MakerBox. And he had a similar approach. They basically kept adding either tools or just content, just guides to this thing. And then when you got access to the whole package pretty much. And I'm quite sure every time he added one of these, he launched it on Product Hunt. I think he has a lot of top 3 or even product of the day launches on Product Hunt. And he would just do this back in the day when Product Hunt mattered. He used to do this, maybe not on a weekly basis, but at least every 2 weeks. He would make a free AI wrapper tool. He would make it part of MakerBox. So you need to sign up. He would capture your email. He would launch it on Product Hunt. He would get a bunch of views, a bunch of leads as well. And then the next thing, he would send a newsletter and with an offer, and then he would make sales. And in 2 weeks, he would do it over and over again. And it was like a well-oiled machine. And then Product Hunt went to shit. And then that's the end of it.
We still have Reddit. You can do it on Reddit.
I think it's still, I'm not sure if he's still doing it on a different channel. I'm not seeing it that much. But I think the same strategy could work for Reddit or Hacker News as well. I mean, if you have the courage to post something on Hacker News, I know some people have success there. I'm completely terrified of it.
Me too. Yeah, it's a special place for special people. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, am I missing something? We have talked about X, launching, growing through side projects. Am I missing something? Do you do something else for growing your main projects, which is Shopixen and API and your services? I'm missing and you would love to share with us?
I've tried many things. I think these are the ones that work. keep trying things. So I can give you one example of a thing that I've tried that's it's outside of the box, but it's still within this area, and that's called Rare Big Deal. And this was a pretty interesting project. I live streamed building it. So that was one way to bring customers to my main project, just live streaming and showing. So I was actually using the product quite a bit to get it up and running in a couple hours or so. So it showed the value of the main product, but it blew up a little bit. I think there were maybe close to over 150, maybe close to 200 different people that submitted their app. And guess what? At the top of that submission, there was ShipX and there was my product. So this was kind of a marketing platform for them where they can submit for free their own products, but I control the platform. So I could put mine first if I wanted to. I could put like big banners with it. And this is a GitHub repository. It's super easy to build. It's a GitHub repository that has a bunch of tables with these products. If you want to add a product, you just make a pull request and then I merge it in, and then you both get a link on GitHub and you get a backlink from Rare Big Deal. And I also kind of sneak in my product along the way. So everyone that submitted their product, the 150 people that are also developers, obviously saw ShipXN as well while they were submitting it. So this kind of stuff, I think, is maybe, you can do something like this. You could do exactly this. It actually doesn't take that long to build this. You can take this further, of course, and you could do affiliates and stuff like that, which I have tried. I made a few $100s with affiliates, but then I realized, it doesn't make sense because I'm not into that market. I'm not looking to be an affiliate. I like building things. But you can obviously keep growing this and do affiliates. You could submit this for backlinks as well, and it has a pretty good DR. But what I'm advocating for is to try things, to try outside of the box things and see if they work. I actually was completely surprised that a thing that I spent 3 hours on got over 150 submissions from all sorts of people and a lot of stars in GitHub. And GitHub is a kind of a social network too. Like, not many people think about it as a social network, but it is. Every time someone makes a pull request in your repository, then all of their followers see that they've created a pull request, right? Or when they star. So you get a pretty big reach by people making pull requests in your repository, right? That also appears in your contributions. So if, in the period of 1 month, someone goes to that person's profile, they will also see it in the contributions in the list. So it's actually, it's a proper social network, like a slightly different concept. You don't scroll for 5 hours on GitHub, but there is this network effect of someone either starring or contributing to your project, then all of their connections see that activity.
Try new things, okay? Many people struggle to find new things to try. How do I find new things to try?
That's a good question. I actually sat down and I thought, all right, what is something that I frequently need to use that is difficult, and came up with, I still have that list somewhere, I can dig it up. I came up with 15 things. Then I sorted it by what's easiest to build. So when I did that back in the day, that was Cron Tool. And Cron Tool was one of my first free projects. It completely blew up on Reddit and kind of gave me the confidence to keep building more stuff. I think at the time I just had Clubber, and I did Cron Tool as the second thing, completely blew up, and then I thought, all right, build things. But it doesn't have to be a thing that you spend months on. I think a lot of people look at this and they think, it has to be this brilliant, incredible thing. No. Just do something, make a tool that removes the background from an image. Maybe that's competitive, right? But like just one dead simple thing. Or make a tool that adds a background to a screenshot, right? We've seen that. Now with AI, the possibilities are endless. You can do a lot of tools around text. You could do roasting tools. You could do content tools, you name it. And just think of an annoying thing in your life that you do over and over again that could be replaced by a tool, make a list of that, pick the one that's easiest to build, and I guarantee it's going to go well. When I built Cron Tool, I think I had 500 followers, and I did it through Reddit, and it was just amazing. I think that was maybe a pivotal point in my mindset. That I've never shared this. I don't think I've ever shared this, but seeing that, I thought, you can even find the Reddit post, I think. I wrote something like, finally understood cron on Reddit.
I see.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good.
Yeah. And yeah, you see, I had the marketing there. I got 800 upvotes. I think stat-wise, nice. It got hundreds and thousands of views. It was completely wild for me with 500 followers that you can post the free tool like this and get this much reach, get these many eyes on your product. So, and that was the moment where I thought, well, I can do this. I can actually build things, launch them, and people will be interested. And the next thing I have to try is to actually make something that's paid. And yeah, the rest is history. There's one more thing that I want to add. If you build that tool and you will Google for it, you will probably find a competitor or 2 or 5. Just don't care about it. Build a tool anyway and write about it. There's really no shortage of these tools. The way I build things is I don't look at them. But I think about how I build it. So it's the most intuitive for me. And I launch it, and then I look if a competitor did it better, then I take some inspiration and improve it. I don't know if everyone has the capacity to do that, but if the tool is simple enough, if it's a background removal tool, I'm sure you can brainstorm on what would be for you the best way to do it, and just build it and just share it and just talk about it and don't care about competitors. That's one of the reasons why people don't launch stuff is they overthink stuff. They overthink, oh, what about the performance and scalability of this thing? Like, where do I host it? What server do I use? And look at all these competitors. None of that. It doesn't matter. Just launch the thing, build a thing and launch the thing. Don't care. Don't overthink it. It's not gonna help you to overthink it.
Great piece of advice. Perhaps it's a good idea to start your maker's career with a free tool, because it's easier to build, you're not responsible, easier to launch.
Yeah, you caught me on this one. So Dan from 3 years ago would say, yeah, go and build a free tool. I think it's good to boost your confidence. If you are not sure that you can do this, I think it's good to do it. But my mindset today is everything that you've built, you need to try and monetize it. So even if I build free tools, the goal of the free tools is to convert some of the users to my paid product, right? So, and let's be honest, there's a lot more motivation to build these tools when you have this at the back of your head that, yeah, you'll get some customers to your main product and you're going to grow it. So I like building free tools that way today, but it is a good way to just boost your confidence before you've built anything. Launch the first thing. Don't spend too much time on it, spend a week, launch it. Then you see, okay, I can launch something. Then the next thing you should do should be paid, in my opinion.
Okay, cool. I think if you don't have any growth tips, advices, don't you?
Secret advice that I don't share with anyone?
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's maybe not so secret. I might have shared this before, but the best way to grow and to make it in this space is to have friends, is to have a group of makers that also build their own things that can both help you discuss an issue, but just be there on the same path as you are. Just have your own little group that is going through things, that lift each other up, that support each other, that tell you, keep going, it's gonna be okay. That's so important. Like, don't do this alone.
You mean real life friends or online friends?
Online friends. No, that's fine. Yeah. So I think if you build for even a few months, you will find yourself in some chats. It always happens, right? Kind of get added to this Telegram, to this DM group or whatever. hold on to that, value that, be active in that, because it's very important to make these connections, to grow together with people. And also motivating, because, I know there was a group, I forget what it was exactly, but it was a group of people that was just sharing their MRR in this group. They both started from the same place and they motivated each other, saying, oh yeah, I grew MRR to, 1,000, like, where are you? And they motivated each other to do more marketing and to grow their revenue. So you could also use it that way, but you don't know where it goes and what type of people you find, but value those people when you find them, because it's very important to have this connection and to realize that other people are going through the same thing, and it's hard and it takes a long time before you find your own pace, before you reach the goals that you want, if it's either making money or having fun or both. Having some people that are going through the same thing and are showing you that it's either possible, or if it's not, you at least have a shoulder to just tell all your worries and then get it out and move on back to building.
Yeah, that's precious advice. It works even better if those friends are real, for sure. Even if you don't meet often, like I have friends in Turkey, and we meet like 1-2 times per year only, but yeah, it costs a lot to have a friend nearby, of course.
Yeah, super good. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have friends and looking for places to connect, reach out to me, or then we will show you groups, chats where you will be able to find your friend.
For sure.
That was a great conversation. Perhaps at the end we can add some little information about which tools you are using. I know it's not important, that tooling is not the question that makes the difference, but still for the beginner makers it's important to use something that the successful ones use, because it gives you a piece of confidence when you use the tools used by the top makers. So please, could you share some free tools which you are using daily that you can't live without to edit?
I'm gonna sound like I'm just shilling and like but they definitely didn't pay me for this. I guess I mentioned it already, but Sentry, I start with Sentry on all the products. They have a pretty generous free tier, and I do exceed it sometimes, and then the tracking. So if you have a spike in usage or whatever, you might exceed it for a month. Then you just don't get any alerts that month, and then next month it resets and you didn't pay anything. So, I mean, what's the downside?
It's a good deal. I use for all my projects.
Yeah. The second one would be PostHog, and they're super generous with their free plan. I've never paid them 1 cent.
Oh, wow.
I use PostHog for analytics, web analytics. I use it for conversion tracking. So it's like instead of Google Analytics, basically. But I also use it for their A/B testing part. I've used that in the past, which is pretty cool. And honestly, it's a pretty crazy product that has 10 products inside. So, just check out their stuff. But they also have data warehouse and session replay. I don't use session replay. It's like you need some sort of session replay. But I use the one from Sentry, so I don't need the one from PostHog. But if you don't have it, it's amazing to actually, how many times have you thought, well, I would like to see what this user was doing when they gave me this feedback, or before they gave me this feedback, or before they reported this bug, or before they, So yeah, exactly. There it is. PostHog has a version of that too, is more towards marketing. What else I use? Do you want to get some really small free tools, by the way, that I actually think it's quite ironic that
of course
I use some of these tools, but one of them is called Scoosh.
Right.
So it's something like that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Scoosh.app. So this is such a silly tool, but it allows you to reduce the size of an image and has a lot of controls, and it's just a simple web app that just works. Like I'm sure there are a lot of apps and really complicated tools that can do this, but this is simple. You select what you want to do. It has a bunch of options, and then you download it, and that's it. And it reduces the image rate. You have an example here, like by 97%. Right? It's pretty good, and it's just in the browser. It's amazing.
Oh wow, cool.
So that's definitely like a small tool that I use probably every day. I'm not sure. Like most images that I put them in Scoosh first, and then I
You should build a Squoosh for yourself. And
yes, I actually definitely thought about it. I think Squoosh itself is open source. So what you can do, that's another way to like kind of kickstart these free tools, is to look at really popular open source projects that don't have any right, and then you make the UI for them.
That's smart.
That's a really easy way to get ideas if you're completely drawing a blank and don't know what to do. And then it's, 90% of the work is done because they open sourced it. So yeah, cool. And then the other one that I use is called SVG OMG. And this is a similar thing, but for SVGs. So when you export SVGs from Figma, they're also pretty huge. And this essentially does the same. The SVG looks exactly the same, but it's just smaller. So it removes a bunch of stuff. Like you see there, it reduced it by 55%. And this is a pretty simple SVG, and it still removed 55% of it. So yeah, I think that's because I'm quite careful with the performance. If I'm doing a landing page, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to optimize all the stuff myself. Like SVGs obviously don't get optimized automatically. A lot of the images do, but I like to pay attention to that because it does affect SEO. Like if you don't have a good loading time, you will be downranked on Google. Yeah, that's it. And then, I think those are the free tools that I use mostly. Is there anything around coding or stuff like that I should mention, like the text editor and so on?
Of course, yes. Please mention, what do you use? Cursor, Windsurf?
Cursor right now. Yeah, Cursor right now. And I use Claude 3.5. Like I tried the others, man. I don't know. It's just not as good. Claude 3.5 is like a moonshot model. They just nailed it. It just works. I've tried the Gemini 2.5, and then I don't know, every 5 prompts or so, it doesn't actually write the code, and I'm just like waiting there looking at my screen and nothing happens. So I just have to go back to 3.5. Yeah, so Cursor. I also go back and forth to Copilot just to see what's going on. It's like super competitive right now. So they've basically copied everything that Cursor can do. So now it's a matter of the brand that you like what's cooler. And obviously Cursor is a lot cooler. It's not old Microsoft, boring Microsoft. So that's probably what keeps me there. But yeah, Microsoft's catching up for sure.
Cool. That's it. That's enough. Thank you very much. That was super insightful.
Thank you so
this conversation so much.
And I was looking forward to this. Thanks so much for having me. And let's do it again soon.
Yeah, let's do it again.
You're going to be on our show next, and you can tell us then all of your tips.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Okay, goodbye everyone. Not you, then let's talk a few minutes. Yeah, don't close the tab.